Okay, welcome guys to our episode number 35 of our GrowthArtic podcast and YouTube show. And our today's topic is working remote.
Because Hendrik and I, we are quite remote at the moment. Where are you, man?
Yeah, I'm in Zerfeld, Austria, a really beautiful ski area with everything is full of snow. And we arrived here on Saturday, and on Saturday it started to be really sunny here, so we have the perfect skiing weather.
Nice. So it's just vacation, no business this time, because you used to do lots of accelerator work.
As a family, and I have to do some, or to get rid. And really important point of my bucket list. It was always like helping my daughter starting to ski, and so she's 4.5 now, and we made 3.5 days of ski schools, to say it like this. And yeah, today was a day where we made it from the top of the hill into the valley, 35 minutes, really first time together, so it makes me really happy.
Congrats man, that's awesome.
Yeah, so bucket list done.
Yeah, I'm in good old Cologne. I had a long day, had a workshop with a client, and we did like the survey validation funnel, for a specific product of theirs, working really well. This was the next upgrade level, and there all the team is always present. And when the team comes together, people are coming in from Frankfurt, from Hamburg, and it's always this big travel hassle, for everybody to get over. It's a big act, and why can't we just do this remotely? Yeah, that is a bit of the topic today, the pros and cons of working remotely, how it can support your growth, what chances and risks comes along with that.
Yeah.
So what's your experience with working remotely so far?
I would just stick to this point. So because so if we do some workshops, for me, what's the really, really hard part, or maybe the hardest part after the sales part, is for me always the finding the right date between me and the big teams, because they're coming from everywhere. And so I remember 2 years ago now, I made my first full day remote workshop.
Okay.
Where I said in the beginning, so it was an idea of the client.
Okay.
And then I said, okay, remote workshop. So how does it work? Okay, I have everything, but so people or who knows me, I want to touch the people. Sounds a little bit stupid, but I'm really, or I know that you know what I mean.
I know what you mean. Yeah, you can just get much more feeling of the audience and everything.
Yeah. Watching the people, touching the people, getting the feedbacks in their eyes. You can scribble something. You can move while you make a small presentation or something. So for me, it's really important. But in the end, I did it, and we split it, the full day workshop, in 2 half days, because that was my idea. Because I said, okay, if we are sitting 1 full day in front of our screens, I think it will be boring for me as a presenter or as a coach, and as well for all the others. And then in the end, we split it in 2 half days, and in the end, it went out totally okay. So it was okay, but in the end, it was not the same. Like
I get it.
Workshop where you can work together.
Would you do it again?
I would do it again, but only then if we don't find another solution. Yeah. So maybe if you work with really international teams or something, I think they know how to handle this. So they are working remote, or really comfortable in working remote. So they're really experienced, and I think that's my number one. I would say you have to learn how to work remote. If you have to work or to with a guy or with a team who never has been working remote before, it will be really hard, because you have to need there or there you have to have a lot of discipline.
I feel I've worked with lots of companies that have a remote team, and once like more than half are remote, the whole culture really is primarily remote, and the remote people are not like a stupid addition. Yeah, they are the guys who have to join the conference with Skype and the whole tech shit comes up. No, after 50% of people are remote becomes the new normal, and in those cultures I think it really works quite well. In my personal experience, I have this challenge with remote work. I have this Friday growth team day, yeah, and this is where we all get together, and with the people who are not with us, they are present. They are not at the top of my mind, and their tasks are slipping away, and I'm not being supportive enough for them. And I'm still looking for a way how to solve this. This is probably my biggest gripe with remote, that people are not top of mind. Do you have any challenges like that with remote work?
Yeah, it's for me the same. It starts so you name it. It's your working Friday. So my first experience working remote was, or my first important experience was. So I'm a big fan of this weekly meeting. Yeah. So to do it comes from this agile
sprint
thing.
Planning.
Yeah, Scrum and so on. So there it's called daily from the software development teams, and then there is a weekly. So you're standing together. If you're 7 people in the team, you're standing together maybe 15 minutes in the morning, and just saying, okay, what was last week, this week, what comes this week, and what is my barrier, what is my challenge. So just really quick update, quick synchronization. And that's something what I really love, because I think it's really important for teams to have something like to get this done like a habit. Yeah, it must be a habit, and then it's really effective. But to do this remote, it is possible. You can do this via Slack or via email or WhatsApp or whatever, but you need much more discipline.
Yes.
You have to figure out what are the right rules. So I had 3 teams where we tried to work with this kind of weekly meetings, and we had 2 it was working perfectly, and there was 1, and we never made it. We never made it because, and honestly, I have no idea, because we did the same things like for the 2, like for the other 2 teams. But our idea was to say, okay, it's Friday. Until Friday, 3 p.m., everybody has to answer these 3 questions: last week, this week, and what is my challenge, in not more than 3 sentences in a Slack channel. That was a rule. And as I said, in 2 teams it worked, and in 1 team it doesn't work. So maybe it's a good quote, maybe not. But
it feels more hit or miss. It's but the advantages, if you really make it work, at least the potential is huge. Yeah, for us, for client work, of course, you suddenly are not bound in this tight travel schedule. For me, I see the chance of having like 3 to 4 90-minute calls with a customer, which would be a good attention span. For me, my personal maximum attention span on Skype. 90 minutes, and then you could suddenly have people in Austin, Texas, in Shanghai, in wherever. You're not bound anymore to this. I have to come to you, put CO2 into the air by traveling, so we get work done. So my motivation is quite high. And from the other side, it's like providing services remotely, but also receiving them. I would like to keep my team quite international. Jono from my team of Pirate Skills, he's currently in Australia. And we just have regular Skype sessions where we update each other what's going on. you just have to think about it. As you said, you have to be more disciplined, you have to be more structured, more transparent in your work. We try to do that through tools like Asana and Trello, yeah, to see who's working on what. Yeah, but what do you think? Like, what are the chances for remote working for you? I just mentioned the two: one being rendering services remotely, and two, getting the talent remotely for your own business.
Yeah, I think one is maybe it's exactly this situation here. I'm sitting here in vacation with my family in a beautiful landscape, and we have a beautiful time here. But in the end, I would say 40-50% of my work, so not having the workshops, but recording our podcast, starting or continuing my content marketing things, or writing proposals, or writing builds, or whatever it is. We can do it from here, so nobody can stop me working. And as I started, so that I would say that's one of the. So there are some people who call this kind of digital nomad thing. I would never be a digital nomad because I'm a person who needs a home at home. But
Same here.
that's, yeah, that's another story. But I think it's so important to to be flexible like this, to be able to work not for 100%, but to be able to work for 2 or 3 months, or 2 or 3 weeks, sorry, from anywhere in the world. That's something, and not just because you are the boss or the founder or whatever. That must be the same thing for all of your teammates, and that's something what I think is it's a really great advantage. The process of the last 20 years.
I've met a guy on a Facebook conference in Brussels. He was from Italy, doing similar things than we do, like growth marketing, growth hacking. But he had an amazing company thing. So they called it a workcation. So once a month or less frequently, they spend a week together. Yeah. Wherever they decided as a team, it's supposed to be like Mexico or Bali or Mallorca. They made the decision where they would like to spend a week. And of course, since everything was remote, you could then stay longer or come earlier, but you had to be present 1 week per month in a different country, and the company was paying for it. Yeah, this might be too frequent for some people. I talked to some other people about the advantages and disadvantages of such a system. But man, that would be awesome. Imagine just to live with your family and travel with them, doing your work and having your co-workers come together maybe every 6 to 8 weeks for a week. You spend some time to get them there, but the rest of the time they can work wherever they like. Yeah, I would love the freedom this would give to the people.
Yeah, sounds great.
And he has been doing that for 2 years already. Yeah, and I think that's such a different lifestyle to go for. Yeah. Even with kids, it could be possible.
There's another example what comes to my mind, and that's maybe it's more interesting for companies or corporates who are just making their recruiting advertisements now. Hey, you can work remote and with home office and all this stuff. Mm-hmm. Yeah, maybe most of us are laughing about this, because for us working in home office is quite, it's not a big thing. It's quite normal, right?
Yeah, for us it is. Yeah,
it's not normal. It's not normal in a corporate that you are allowed to work 1 day in a home office or something.
Yeah.
And so when I was a manager of the team, I can totally agree, because there was one in my early days of being a manager or a leader. There was one failure I made. There was a guy. So maybe I got my leadership status, and 2 or 3 weeks later came a guy of my team. So we were working really close and close together, and had a trustful relationship, to say like this. And then he came here. I'm coming from 150 kilometers away from Cologne, and this and that, and maybe on Fridays I can have a home office day. What do you
Yeah.
think? And then I said, yeah, I'm the coolest leader ever, for sure, you can do this. And then he came, okay, can I have it in my contract as well? I said, yeah, sure, just go to the HR department and you get it in your contract. So
Okay.
everything,
So what happened?
yeah, yeah, everything was fine. I think 1.5 years later, the organization part after this change, because it doesn't work. So, but
Mhm.
it's in its contract. Yeah, and that was something what I learned. I was okay. You can do this because you think it's important for this employee or for your relationship or for your performance or whatever, but never put it in the contract. Just let you can put something in the contract like, okay, um, with the agreement of the leader, it's always possible. That could be something like, then you have always the chance to say, okay, not today or something. That was
Yeah.
something that was really important in my personal learning, because giving somebody a Friday in home office or a Monday, Friday and Monday are holy days, right? So it's another thing, but please take a good reason for it, and take just one exercise or one piece of work with you. Maybe in at home it's more silent or whatever, but not as just okay, everybody here.
Yeah.
That's something.
It's a skill to be learned. It's a skill for the leaders to be to learn how to manage, and
Yeah,
they need to be willing. But the people taking advantage uh, of the homework, of the remote work, also need to solve this self-discipline issue that usually comes along. But I think people are capable once you really make it's something you need to train like any other skill. If you treat it like that, you can get most people to be very productive, even more productive than at the office. Yeah, because there's so much disruption going on at the office usually.
yeah,
So I'm trying to think about how I can use remote work much more in pirate skills. Yeah, we do all of this in English, so why not acquire more community supporters from overseas? Yeah, from Australia, from Canada, from the US, from UK, even when they have their Brexit now, and get them to support the community in a remote way. So I really hope I can make this happen, make it work like with Jono or with Julia, who are already doing this remotely, and Maxime actually too, who's from France. Do you have any plans to have like a remote assistant or anything? I think you said something about that.
yeah. So I had one. So my first employee was David, and he was a student from Cologne, and we worked together in Cologne, and we never, so we had not a regular weekly meeting or something. So we met if it happened. So we working remote, but in Cologne, and then his situation changed, and then he moved to Paris. For half a year.
Yeah.
And then we said, okay, it's no problem because we can just, because we work remote already. So we just continue our thing. And then we figured out, so both of us figured out after 2 or 3 months that something changed. And it was not the distance or something, it was just our thing, or our expectation management was worse. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I have not a clear reason for this, but I think so. His life situation changed, yeah, because now he's living in Paris, thinking about new things or whatever happened, or focusing on other things, and then in the end, our close relationship working remote was not existent anymore. So that was
Okay.
I would not say it was a bad experience, but it was a learning from my side where I said, okay, um, think of changing life situations, yeah, and it could be another way around. So people are working in Paris and then they are coming Cologne. So you are working really perfect together remote, but now you want to work in a team. Maybe it doesn't work because it's a different way of working together to collaborate. And yeah, and what I want to do with my team is, so for me it's the same. I have 1 day a week where we meet in Startplatz, working together. This works really, really great. And the rest of the week we are working remote. But what I learned, what is really important, to have at least this one day a week where you are facing the problems, where you're facing the tasks, where I can share my ideas, where I can share my visions, or where can I explain in detail why I'm changing my plans or my roadmap or whatever.
Yeah, that's right. I also need this. I need this FaceTime and the human bonding. Yeah, that is so important to me, that I can mostly only get in real life, but I'm working on how to transition myself to making that possible also remotely. Okay.
Yeah, maybe I've just one thing in my mind. So I'm working not all the time. So I'm on the road, or I'm working in my small office in Startplatz, but I have a lot of time at home as well. So I'm working from home, and something what I learned, what I don't like, and maybe you will laugh now, but is there are some days where we get up as a family, then the normal family disaster in the morning begins, and my daughter has to be brought to the kindergarten at 9, and then I bring her. But then I come back, and then I start working at 9:10, and then maybe 8 hours later, I'm still sitting in my office the same way I started working at 9:10. So I'm not. So the good thing is I had to bring my daughter to the kindergarten. That means I'm wearing a jeans and a t-shirt and brushed my teeth before or something. But in the end, it's something like I can work at home. That's a positive and a negative thing. I can work at home in a tunnel, completely. Yeah. But in the end, I never meet the person. And that's something what I'm from time to time where I think, okay, is it a good sign? Is it a good sign if you're working in a tunnel and then it's 7 in the evening and you just, maybe I had 10 phone calls or Skype calls or something, but I never met the guy personally.
Yeah, so that's why you also switched now. Yeah, you now joined the co-working space at Startplatz again. Okay, is that right?
Yeah, that's one of the reasons. I said, okay, I want to be able to work from home, but it must be in another manner or something. So,
yeah.
Okay.
Cool. Yeah, so we are really curious how you guys are solving this. Have you tried remote work for rendering services, or have you co-worked with people in teams who are remote? Please share your experiences and maybe resources that really helped you with that. We would appreciate that.
Yeah, that would be cool.
So I think that concludes our episode, right? You can find us in the usual places on growthartic.com, where you can find us on YouTube. This time we don't have a video, we just have an image for our video this time because we're doing this remotely. So everything has chances and risks, right? Really so interesting. Okay, Hendrik, then I would say let's see each other in episode number 36, where we will talk about content marketing and how that helps your growth, right?
Yeah, right. Looking forward. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.